What's up, everybody? Paul here from the Hoops Crew, and it's Nuff of the Week time. It's our qualifying final, week one of the finals edition of Nuff of the Week. And if you've watched any football this weekend, you know that there can only be one person that gets the Nuff of the Week title this week. And it, of course, goes to a certain AFL umpire for a horrific, moronic mistake that was made during the qualifying final between Geelong and Brisbane this weekend. Now, of course, there's probably a little bit of bias here. I'm a Geelong supporter. And so anything that's kind of going against Geelong, especially in a finals context, is certainly going to catch my eye more than probably most other things. And there is certainly another little point of discussion from this weekend that I do want to discuss with you. But the incident that occurred between Mark O'Connor, Zach Guthrie, Cam Rayner, and then AFL umpire number 33, Brent Wallace, was absolutely laughable. The umpire in question here, so Brent Wallace, absolutely in my mind cannot continue through this final series. That is it. Any chance that he might have had of umpiring a grand final this year has to go out the window off the back of this. But we'll talk all about it. Why I think that's the case. The incident itself we'll pick into kind of my perspective on the day, and a whole lot more after this word from our sponsor.
The Hoops Crew Media Network is proudly sponsored by Cyril Cook Florist. Visit them at shop 1211 Leather Street in Breakwater. Phone them on 035 222 2244 or visit their website at www.cyrilcookflorist.com.au and use the offer code GOCATS in the voucher field at checkout to get 20% off your next online purchase.
Thank you, Cyril Cook Florist, as always, for your ongoing support of the Hoops Crew and all we get up to. Now, let's kind of pick through the whole incident itself. And firstly, we'll start by kind of talking about my perspective on the day, because I was in a very fortunate spot where, as a few people might have seen from social media, I was kind of hemmed right up against the player race, the Geelong race. That was my spot for the day. And so I had a fantastic view of not only the incident itself, but the lead up to it. And I feel like this is something that's been kind of ignored in a lot of media conversation so far. The entire lead up for a good couple of minutes before everything actually occurred, before Tyson Stengel took that mark, before it was all overturned and the ball went up the other end of the ground, he was chatting to Brent Wallace, specifically about the behavior of Cam Rayner. And it was a lot of antagonistic stuff. He was, throwing him around. He was pushing him, shoving. He was trying to bait him constantly. And the umpire knew that there was stuff going on. And probably some, really inappropriate comments too, but couldn't glean that from the physical behavior. And so then it all plays out, as we've all seen on TV, and we finally got some angles on it after the fact, and the crowd went wild, and everyone knew that was wrong. And let's not lose sight of the fact here that Geelong has become a club that isn't overly popular with neutrals these days because of our consistent run of success, and that's all it is. It's professional jealousy. But when the neutrals are even going, geez, Geelong, you got hard done by, that says a bit. Well, the AFL's come out since and gone through the whole incident, and they've determined, and this is where I think there's another layer of confusion and controversy here. They've determined that the initial free kick, the one that we saw, the Mark O'Connor bump against Cam Rayner, where Cam Rayner flopped to the ground, was incorrect. They said the second one was appropriate, and I'm kind of inclined to agree, but also let's not lose sight of the fact that the second wouldn't have happened without the first. There was nothing to provoke Zach Guthrie and his bump afterwards. I want to question the penalty on this. Really? Like 150 meter free, 150 meter advantage in the first place. Not a free kick on the spot, just an immediate turnover. Tyson Stengel just hands the ball to the Brisbane player and goes the other end. So like the decision to reverse the possession and send it 150 meters up the other end of the ground, when clearly the umpire guessed in the first place. He's seen Cam Rayner flopping around on the ground or falling to the ground. He's looked at just the moment where maybe not the contact was made, but when Cam's begun to fall, and made the decision to give a free kick, and then make the decision to, no, it's got to be here at the top of the goal square. is absolutely wild to me. Then off the back of it, when Zach Guthrie commits his thing, not to say here's the free kick at the center bounce, but to again give them another free kick. It's absolutely insane. And I do think, setting aside the Geelong and Brisbane component of this, if there is this type of discretion, we've seen them before where there's been something like what Zach Guthrie did after a goal's been kicked. My stance is that the free kick should be like, and I'm not going to question the Zach Guthrie one. I do understand that there was a lot more to that, and it was something very avoidable. I understand the free kick there for Brisbane, but that should also be given to them in the ruck, because that's where the ball, as of this moment, that is where the ball will next be live. So that is where the free kick should be taken. Because giving a team, in this case, 2 goals like they did back-to-back, I mean, that could have changed the entire momentum of the game. Now, thankfully, there's all the reporting that's come out that apparently Geelong was quote-unquote pissed about the entire thing, how the pissed off cat, there's an article on the AFL website, how pissed off cats responded to umpiring controversy. And, you know, I'm thrilled that they kind of really bottled it and used it in the right ways. But it's absolutely wild, the decision-making here. So, Brent, what's your name again? Brent Wallace, you're done. Cam Rayner, you're a flog. Dead set flog. Like, it shows how pathetic you are, that because you can't win in the contest that you're in, that you need to stoop to shitty tactics like the ones you did just to try and get yourself a possession. It's beyond a joke. And it's a real shame, because Cam Rayner, he's a former number 1 draft pick. He's chock full of skill. He did all sorts of horrible things to us in the prelim final last year. He's proven his worth as a player. So it's really disappointing. Just if I try and sit back and try and bring a neutral perspective, neutral fans' perspective to it, it's really disappointing that you stoop to these levels just to go and chase a free kick, or in this case, a goal or 2. You're bigger than that. You're tougher than that. You're stronger than that. None of these bumps, even the Zach Guthrie one, would have prompted you to fall over if you didn't want to. If you didn't want to go down. If you weren't prepared for contact and ready to let yourself fall. It's pathetic. And Brent Wallace, you are a moron for falling for it. And that's the other half of this. It's unbelievable how gullible you were that you would fall for something like that, especially after Mark O'Connor had already come over to you and outlined, and again, not visible in the telecast from all reports. I'm sure there's some camera footage out there that hasn't surfaced yet. But Mark O'Connor was talking to the umpire, telling him about the various things that were going on. He was trying to communicate with him, and it was like constant what Cam Rayner had been doing. And he just knew that the moment was going to come where Mark would push back or do something like that, and he was ready to fall over, and he did. So Cam Rayner, you're a joke. Brent Wallace, you're even worse. You're a dead set moron. So that's our enough of the week this week. I did want to end with one final little clip here. It comes from the West Australian. I'm going to blow this image up on the screen here. It should appear in a moment. How's the egg on your face, guys? Like this went out September 6th, so the morning of the elimination final between Freo and Gold Coast. The best things in life are easy home final wins. I don't need to say anymore, do I? That's where we'll wrap things up for this entry of Nuff of the Week. Brent Wallace, you're an idiot. Cam Rayner, you're pathetic. You're both as bad as one another, but Brent Wallace, you don't get another gig through this final series as far as I'm concerned. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it, subscribe to the Hoops Crew on YouTube, and check out all the awesome content we've got there. Share it with your friends and family. You've got stuff from myself, Ben, the chaps, lots of awesome Geelong-related content for you to consume. And if you want more of it, consider checking out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/thehoopscrew, where there's early access, extended, and exclusive content on our Patreon just for those who subscribe at the $5 or higher tier. That's all cost per month to get all that content delivered to your email inbox, and there's even a 7-day free trial to see if it's for you beforehand. You'll find me on socials at Paul James Games. That's Twitter, Blue Sky, and Instagram. The Hoops Crew is at The Hoops Crew. And until next time, Cam Rayner, you suck. Brent Wallace, you're a moron. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. Remain Geelong strong, and I'll see you later.